Hey guys, how y'all doing? And we are back with another video. Now this isn't going to be a live commentary like I usually do. This is just a regular commentary over some Left 4 Dead gameplay I got the other day. And I'm basically making this video because I wanted to make my Call of Duty Championships prediction. If you don't know, the Call of Duty Championships, it's a $1 million tournament for the top 32 Call of Duty teams. A $1 million prize pool split over the top 8 teams. So basically, they're all going to be fighting for a chance at top 8 and placing in the money, and I'm just going to give my predictions on who I think is going to place top 8 and who's going to make it out of each group. I'll explain that in a little bit more. Disclaimer, I'm not pro, I'm not even that good at the game. I haven't really followed Ghost that closely, but I do follow some teams, and I do have some idea of who's in each team. And I'll just give my predictions just for fun. I might be dead wrong about some of these teams, but you know, I'll just make my predictions and see what I get right and what I get wrong. So, if you don't know, basically the top 32 teams have qualified. One got disqualified, by the way. I'm not entirely sure from where that team was, but basically they're going to be split into groups of 4. So there's 8 groups of 4. Now each team from a group is going to play every other team that's inside their group, and then the top 2 scores from each group will make it out into a double elimination bracket, which basically means you lose once, you're into losers bracket, you lose in losers bracket, you're out of the tournament. So basically, I'm going to give you my top 2 from each group, and then I'll say what I think could be my top 8. So Group A, Strictly Business, Sublime, Vitality Returns, and Team Rise. I think Strictly Business is safe to say that they're going to make it out. They won regionals, they're a pretty good team. And I'm going to go with Vitality Returns. I haven't heard that much about them, but from what I've seen, they're pretty good. I'm not entirely sure of all the players that are on their team, but they look like a pretty strong team. Group B, Complexity, All Stars, Team Orbit, and Beck's Revenge. Complexity, safe to say they're gonna make it out of there, no doubt about it. And for me, it's a toss-up between Team Orbit and Vex Revenge. I've heard very little about those two teams, but from what I've heard, they seem sort of. I'm not sure who's gonna come out on top. Basically, I'm gonna go with Team Orbit, just guessing that at random, but I think it could very well be Vex Revenge. All Stars, I'm not really sure about them. Who knows? Maybe they could pull off an upset, but who knows? I'm gonna go with Complexity and Team Orbit. Group C, Team Caliber, Lightning Pandas, Wild Gaming, and Rain Mix. Team Caliber, safe to say they're going to make it out of there. They've placed top 4 at the past, I don't even know how many events. And they've gotten second place so many times. So I think it's safe to say that they're going to make it out. And then I'm hoping Lightning Pandas pulls off an upset because that's Shane's team, and I really do want them to get out of there, but I don't know if they will. I'm going to give it to Wild Gaming more realistically. That's Nexus team, if I'm not mistaken. Next plays top 6 at Philly with E-Girl Slayers. And from what I've seen, they look like a pretty strong SND team. So realistically, I'm going to give it to them. My hope really is that Lightning Pandas makes it out. Nothing against any of the other teams. I just really, really want to see Lightning Pandas come out of that. Group D, we have FaZe, SK Gaming, Trident T1 Daughters, and Aztec Gaming. I'm not gonna lie. 3 of these teams I haven't heard of. I think FaZe is gonna make it out of there, and I really don't know who else to give it to. Trident T1 Daughters. I don't know exactly where they're from. Is that no? I'm not sure if they're the Australian team. I'm not entirely sure. I have a list pulled up here, so I'm going to check real quick. Where is it? Trident T1 Daughters. Is that's from they're a team from New Zealand. I'm gonna give it to them just because I don't really know any of the teams, but I think SK Gaming's also a pretty good team. I don't know much about them, but I've just heard that they're pretty good, so maybe SK Gaming or Trident T1 Daughters. I'm gonna give it to Trident T1 Daughters just because I think FaZe is gonna make it out of there, no doubt about it. Group E, Envious, TEC Intensity, Immunity, and Clarity Gaming. Envious, I think, is going to make it out of there. I think this might be one of the closer pools, I think. Immunity is what they've been described as the complexity of Australia. They don't lose in Australia, I think. So I think they could pull off an upset. But TEC, wait, where was their team? Oh, I lost sight of it. It's Mellow, Wonder, Realize, and Robs. I haven't heard much of those plays, but I saw them play, and they look pretty good. So I'm going to go with Envious and TC, though I think Immunity could make it out of there if they beat TC. So I'm gonna go with Envious and TC with Immunity might pull off an upset. Group F, Rise Nation, Vitality Rises, Wizards, and Brazil 5 stars. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't heard much about this team except from Vitality Rises, which is I think the French team with Gataga in it. And Rise Nation, I think they're gonna be able to get out of there. They really surprised I think a lot of people, including me, at regionals. So I think they're gonna get out of there, and I think it's gonna be Vitality Rises from France. I think those are the two teams that are gonna make it out of Group F. Group G, Optic Gaming, Epsilon Esports, and NSP. And I'm not sure, yeah, I don't know where NSP is from. And that's the group that lost one of the teams because of the disqualification. So there's only 3 teams in that group. And I think it's going to be Optic Gaming and Epsilon Esports. Now, I'm not sure who's going to make it out in terms of who's going to be number 1 and who's going to be number 2. I really don't know. It depends if who's bringing their A game between Optic and Epsilon. They're going to make it out of there, I can almost guarantee that. But I don't know if it's going to be Optic Gaming in number 1 or number 2. So, it's really, really tough. I'm going to go with Optic makes it out of... It makes it in first place just because... And, I think... If they bring their A game, they can place number 1, but I think that's going to be one of the closer, I mean, even though they only have 3 teams, it's going to be, I guess, one of the closer matches, Optic versus Epsilon. Both very good teams. Group H, Xfinity Gaming, TCM, Killerfish, and Echelon. I think Echelon, I don't know if they're going to make it. I saw some of their gameplay. It was pretty bad, I'm not going to lie, but they qualified, so whatever. I'm going to say TCM is going to make it. I think they're the top team in Europe right now. I think they're going to make it for sure. And I think Xfinity is going to make it pretty much. I think Killerfish, that's Killerfish that went last year. So they could potentially maybe pull off an upset, but I don't really see that happening. I think it's going to be Xfinity and TCM making it out of there. I think TCM is going to outplace Xfinity. I'm not going to lie. So I think TCM will win that group. And now for my top 8 predictions. Again, my top 8 is not going to be, I guess, in order that much because the bracket is going to be randomized basically. And this is why I say it matters who gets first and who gets second in each group, because 1 through 8th will be the ones who make it in first will be seeds 1 through 8th, and then the teams who make it second will be 9 through 16th. So basically, if you don't know, I guess a team from 1 through 8th is going to play the team from 9th through 6th, and that's just how it's going to work. And the brackets will be randomized. They haven't been made as of yet, so I really, what I'm about to say could be completely dead wrong because it might be impossible for these teams to end up top 8. But I'm going to give my predictions nonetheless. I think Complexity is going to win it. I think even though they lost regionals, I think that I'm not going to say that Strictly Business was a fluke. They played really, really well. But I'm not entirely sure if Complexity was taking it completely serious. I mean, they were trying. I'm not trying to take anything away from Strictly Business. They won fair and square. But I don't know if Complexity was giving it its all. I mean, they were clearly trying. They were trying. But it just didn't seem like they were giving everything they had. And I think with the $400,000 on the line, Complexity is going to be able to close it out. Karma is going to be able to say he's a 2-time champion. I'm calling Complexity to win the whole thing. Second place, I've been debating between Strictly Business and TK. I think TK are going to place top 3, and I think SB is also going to place top 3, or top 4 at least. Strictly Business. This is one of the tougher ones for me to call. I kind of want to say, I'm gonna say Strictly Business in third and TK in second place. Again, it's really hard for me to call, but I'm gonna go Complexity, Team Caliber, Strictly Business in third. I'm gonna go with Face in fourth place. I think they've come so close to beating Complexity so many times, and they can't close out games. They could potentially place higher. I could see them top 3 and top 2, which sounds pretty crazy, but if they can just close out games, I think they can place higher than that. I really do think they can. They're a really good team, but I'm going to give them top 4. Top five. For me, fifth through sixth. For me, one through fourth are kind of jumbled up. I think complexity is going to take it, but I think TK, SB, and FaZe in top four could jumble up, and I think for me, five through eighth could also jumble up. But I'm gonna go with Envious in fifth place. I think Envious, they could place higher. I think they can place top four. They have the ability to, but I'm not entirely sure if they'll be able to. It's gonna depend if Rambo shows up, because Rambo, again, he's a really smart player, but his gun skill isn't that great. So he's gonna need to win some of those crucial gunfights, and Study also needs to show up. Study is a complete monster. Um, so I think if he plays well, then they'll be able to get out of it pretty easily. And so yeah, I'm gonna give Envious fifth or sixth. Sorry about that. Sorry about that again. So yeah, I'm gonna say Envious fifth or sixth, or I'm gonna say Envious top eight just to be safe. I'm gonna give sixth to TCM Gaming. I think they're a really good team. I think they're gonna really this LAN with Envious really prepared them. I can see them placing top eight pretty easily, and I don't know if they'll place higher than I don't know top four, but I can see them definitely getting into the top eight, fifth, sixth, maybe even top four if they play really well. I'm gonna give them fifth, sixth, just because I don't know exactly. And for me, seventh and eighth have been a huge debate. I think Optic is gonna make it into top eight. I'm not entirely sure. I have I think three teams that I'm looking at that I don't know exactly how to place in that seventh, eighth spot. It's gonna be, for me, it's Optic Gaming, Epsilon, and Xfinity. If I had to say, I think Optic is gonna place seventh and Epsilon eighth. Or yeah, I think it's gonna be Optic in seventh and Epsilon in eighth place. Rise Nation, I think they could also pull off an upset, and Xfinity, I think, could also pull off an upset and end up in top 8. But to be safe, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Optic Gaming and Epsilon in that top 8 spot, 7th and 8th. So to sum up, I think it's gonna be Complexity, TK, SB, FaZe, Envious, TCM, Optic, and Epsilon. And those are my top 8. I could be completely wrong. The bracket hasn't been shown. I could be completely wrong, but those are my top 8. Sorry for such a long video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I might make some of these more competitive videos because it's something that I do follow, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. So I'll make a team, I'll make a video at the end of the weekend, and I'll see where I was right and where I was wrong. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you later.